Hello everybody, this is Don Hernandez and this is a video response for Unit 4, the vocational stress management, and we had to answer the 3 questions. The first question is, what career are you currently or intend to pursue? I currently work as a teacher assistant in special education, as a one-on-one or share aid one, but I trying to pursue a teacher credential and then eventually AAA, add authorization. So eventually I want to be an APE, hopefully in the near future. Question number 2 is specifically identify 5 sources of stress. One stress, I wrote some notes down, but one stress that I mentioned, I believe, that could factor in an APE teacher is maybe maybe in the number of students, but now that I think about it, not so much, because from what I've seen and observed, a lot of times these APE teachers don't have a large amount of students compared to a regular physical education teacher who could have maybe up to maybe 50 or 60 students because of the grade levels they are teaching and combining with 4 classes. But I think one stress factor in APE could be grading. Actually, a IEP. An IEP is a individualized education plan. I think with that could factor in a lot, especially with meetings with parents and district administrators, or even the school administrators all together combined. Sometimes it can actually be heated. Me personally, never been in a meeting, an IEP meeting, but from what I heard from my current teacher that I work for, they can actually sometimes last to a couple hours depending on who's involved and all the people that are involved in giving their opinions, their input, and maybe solution strategies, whatever that needs to be mentioned to actually improve the students' skills or education plan or physical education plan. I think that actually could factor in a lot of times in those meetings with parents, and especially if they involve lawyers or outside sources like from the school. So IEP could be very stressful just for those reasons, and also developing, structuring your or constructing your own IEP plan for one specific student. So that means you will have to like observe, assess, monitor, and record a lot of the data and see what needs to be improved on, what are the strong points, and what are the points that need to be worked on. So there are some more points. Another one is resources. I think a lot of times, maybe depending on the school site or in the district, resources such as equipment could be a major issue or stress factor in a teacher, an APE teacher, just because if you're limited, a lot of times you will have to kind of wing it and maybe modify sometimes your lesson plan if you're coming in and don't have the actual equipment, or sometimes it's lost or it's damaged, or somebody took it, or whatever reason it is that's not there anymore. Sometimes the resources cannot be there, or maybe even the school or district doesn't have funds to provide any kind of appropriate equipment that an APE teacher will need. So with that said, I think actually resources with equipment, sometimes the funds are not available for the program for the APE teachers. So sometimes with that, I think we have to push and apply for programs, or actually scholarships, or any programs are out there for the government, or anything that's available to push for to get funds for the school or even for the district, whatever's available out there. I think we have to research as an APE teacher, or maybe ask around any administrators, I think, or district administrators, and see what's out there, what kind of programs to push for the equipment and what's out there, and actually get that ball going to apply for it and set up something up in meetings. So maybe somehow so they could start, maybe someone or a program could start providing the type of equipment that is needed to develop or implement a strong program for the APE. Another, I think, stress factor is relationships with supervisors or administrators. I think a lot of times this always could be an issue anywhere, not just in a school setting. It could be in retail or anything, but I think that actually stress could actually factor in a lot, especially when you don't have a great relationship within a supervisor or an administrator, just because they have a higher authority, or just because they have different opinions on how you run the program, or they have a different idea or different missions compared to you, what you want to implement. And I think with that strong, or not that, or when there is not an appearance of a strong relationship with the supervisor, it's kind of hard to maybe sometimes teach, that you're coming in kind of awkward, not feeling so confident in yourself on developing, or not having the feeling to want to go into work just for that person, or just to go into work for that school site or the district. So I think with having a strong relationship actually can help. Well, to find a solution to prevent anything like that, it will be maybe somehow have an open communication with them, setting grounds with that supervisor. And I think one thing that actually helps for me sometimes is having that line of respect for that person. And I think not overthinking about the grudge, not overthinking about their opinions or their different opinions. But I think at the same time, I think both should maybe come to maybe a mutual agreement that it's more about what the program is about. So I think with the private meetings, or setting up kind of maybe policies, or maybe I think more meetings to open anything up, that what is the responsibility here for the program, and also have some kind of sense that there's nothing personal. I think I just kind of keep it as work related, and keep it professional. I think another stress factor in APE could be non-compliance from students. I think that's, for one teacher, always maybe a stress factor, just because you always have those few handful maybe students that could be non-compliant, don't want to follow the rules, and actually has behavior issues, or just somehow stubborn, that don't want to actually follow the game plan, or follow the lesson plan, or your instructions. Somehow to actually prevent that is maybe behavior charts. I think I see right now, I work in a school, in a classroom setting. So from what I learned from the teachers, that can actually help maybe in myself in APE, is also having a behavior chart, and different and within that behavior chart, having different levels of behaviors, color coded, whatever it is, to help you. For example, it could be blue, it could be great. Green could be actually some type of average, or anything like that, maybe to kind of control their behaviors, and somehow do contracts with the students. In the contract, maybe state actually what are the consequences for bad behaviors, all the rules and regulations that are within that classroom, and also the expectation from the APE. What do you want from the student to bring for each class, or what do you expect them to behave, and how do you want them to participate every day in the classroom. So that is, I think, one thing to replace the first one about the number of students. I think working conditions, that's another maybe stress factor. Working conditions always could be a major factor. If you don't have the proper working area, it's always kind of hard to teach students also, and it can maybe discourage you, not yourself, but students also, because of the working condition. I think with that, I should maybe push for something in an area or classroom where it could be, where it's open, and maybe communicate with the administrator, teachers, or whoever is responsible for this, actually, okay, help me out to better the worker condition. And that is my video response for this Unit 4. Thank you very much.